We're talking today with Stephen Leeder, Editor-in-Chief of the MJA, about our 20th of April issue, which is our ANZAC commemorative edition. Hello, Steve.
Hello there, Kate.
We've got an awful lot of good stuff about Gallipoli and, military medicine in this issue. What are the highlights for you?
Several highlights. I found the account given of the significance of the 100th anniversary by Brendan Nelson, the former president of the AMA, but now in charge of the Australian War Memorial in Canberra, quite a moving piece, actually. Yes. I thought it was a very nice reflection from him on the significance of ANZAC without overdoing all the blood and gore and saying, well, what are the fundamental messages that come through from this about us as a caring society. So it's a one-page article, starts the journal. I think it's well worth a read.
It is.
As you've said, there are several others that deal with aspects of war injury and illness that frequently claims as many casualties as bullets.
Well, you and Milton Lewis have written a nice piece about the gastrointestinal woes of the boys at Gallipoli.
Well, that's true. I mean, it was a short campaign, but public health, interestingly, played a very significant role insofar as the failed disposal, adequate disposal of rubbish from the trenches, where guys, you'd imagine how can you eat a can of the shocking bully beef and half finish it and then you throw it over your shoulder, either in the direction of your enemy or quite commonly your own territory. And apparently the flies that this attracted were just unbelievable. For example, if you spilled a bit of water from a drink on your skin, a horde of flies would descend on it. And of course, you can imagine that with that infestation, gastrointestinal problems were awful, dreadful, and people were being sent back to Egypt and to hospitals in and around the Mediterranean. And part of the problem there was that once they got to those hospitals, they found it very difficult to get back to the front line. So there was a reluctance to leave your mates if you were injured or ill, because
that old Australian stubbornness.
And I mean, it's an aspect that I really was completely ignorant about until Milton Lewis, who's a health historian, drew my attention to it, and I started reading, and he started reading, and both wrote a bit about it, but it led Milton to have a look at the ratio of illness to injury as a cause of, immobility, I suppose. It's a very interesting story. It reminds us that in circumstances of great tension, as you'd find in war, then public health measures really become critical.
I was talking with Lieutenant Colonel Michael Reid, who's co-written an editorial for us in this issue, and he was saying that even with all, he's a trauma surgeon, and even with all the injury and trauma that they have to do, they also have to keep infectious diseases very close to the front of their thoughts.
Sure.
Even today in places like Afghanistan and Iraq. So that was interesting. We've got a good piece on PTSD as well, haven't we?
Yes, we have. This is a terrible problem, and it afflicts not only servicemen, frontline servicemen, but medical people serving in the field themselves. You can imagine it. I mean, you've only got to think MASH, and you see why. Medical people, there's a limit to how much anybody can tolerate in terms of ghastly trauma and seeing ghastly trauma, I mean. So I think the degree of awareness about PTSD is so superior these days
Yes.
what it was back then, when it was shell shock or like weak character,
Yeah.
rather than some of our politicians are fond of describing mental health today, let me say.
Yeah.
Failure of character, you could end up being court-martialed and shot.
Yeah.
So
and that's been the evolution of it, hasn't it? From
been a big revolution.
Yeah.
We're much better at it, but and it sheets home to us the incredible social cost of war. I mean, it's a terrible, shocking thing.
Yes.
And the unpredictability and the sheer savagery of it are elements that really should stop us all from getting into it too readily.
Indeed. A conversation I had with an army surgeon recently, and I asked him what Anzac Day meant to him, and he said that he didn't feel that he deserved to march.
Really?
Yeah, because even though, he could hear the shelling and he was dealing with the results of the shelling, he didn't feel like his experience was in any way comparable to actually being shot at. And I thought that was, I said that as a civilian, I thought that was wrong, that he absolutely deserved to march, but he didn't believe so. So that was interesting to me, the attitude of being there but not being there, Yeah. But anyway.
Well, the stories of great bravery in many servicemen. In fact, Brendan Nelson's article that I referred to earlier begins with due credit to a war surgeon in World War I who his heroism in retrieving injured people led to him being shot at and killed. So I mean that's pretty frontline stuff.
Yeah, indeed.
I suppose he retrieved the injured person who was shot at and was not killed. He'd be a candidate for PTSD.
Yes, indeed.
They deserve to march, as do the nurses and
That's
the orderlies and all of those people who backed them up.
Exactly. It's a great issue, Steve. I think it's one of our best, to be honest.
I think it's a good one.
Terrific. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Cate. All the best.